Hey Reflections! So today I kind of wanted to pick up where I left off on my last video because it was kind of running long and I was still in that weird space that I was in that I kind of just wanted to rush it and I just wanted to be done with it. I mean, it was raw, it was real, but you know when you do something and you're like, oh man, I forgot to add this, or oh man, I forgot to add that. I wish I could like re-edit my videos after I upload them and like just add more information, but that's not possible. It's not Facebook or Twitter. You can't really do that. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the experience that I had the other day during this experience where I had a meditation and then I had an ego loss. I went out of body. I had an astral projection type experience, and then I went into the white light. So I'm going to talk about that. It's not going to take very long, and then I'm going to talk about seeing the future. Yeah, some weird stuff's happening. So I'm really excited about it. And these new abilities that I've been accepting and not really afraid to experience. So I was doing that meditation yesterday and I forgot to tell you not only the geometry that I saw, but also how it ended. You know, like I kind of just, in storytelling, there needs to be a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I kind of just was all over the place at that moment. So yeah, I'm going to try again today. So yeah, what had happened was everything had turned into white, you know, just like that white light that you see in DMT space or when you're about to die or where you're going into that white light. Well, yeah. And when I experienced that, the first instinct was no, because it reminded me too much of DMT space and also losing that ego, losing the identification to the body, to my mind, you know, that brain wipe, you know, when you just go dead and like no thought, not even you're not even human. So yeah, that's what I felt. And when I resisted, I made a choice and I said, no, I'm not going to resist. I'm not going to keep on like fleeing this and like running away from this. It's just not going to happen. I'm just going to do this. And I made that intention to just see this through. And that was also something that was very different that I've done from my past experiences. I never allowed myself to just be able to go through the experience. I've had chances, you know, it keeps on, you have, you know, the choice if you want to go back and you want to keep on having these experiences, but I always chose not to. So yeah, that was the difference. And then once I disassociated from my ego, from my body, from myself, that's when I saw a dodecahedron. And it's really funny because, you know, I also use dodecahedrons in my intro because I see them a lot in my meditation, but never like this. Usually it's like in fractal geometry, or like mandala patterns or stuff like that, hypnagogic hallucinations. But this time around, it was again in that like lucid state. So in the meditation, I like to meditate laying down. And yeah, so that's what I did. I like to lay down because I like to go into these lucid states. So lately I've been meditating for about 2 hours a day and practicing my astral. So this is something that I was trying to get into. And once I saw the dodecahedron, it was like spinning in all different ways and energy coming out of it. It was like a green blue. And it was the same type of spinning geometric shape that I saw in my DMT experience that I called the spinning geometric machine. So yeah, it was kind of like that. And Pythagoras had said that the dodecahedron is ether. and spirit. So, and I've seen spirit in DMT before, and it's formless. But this time around, it felt very similar to that white light experience, actually the same, which is why I resisted at first. And I just went with it. I surrendered. I lost my ego, lost identification to this 3D reality, and saw the dodecahedron spinning, spinning, spinning. So much energy, this white, green, blue light, just coming off of it. I was all in white light, and then I feel my energy body just going up. Like I was laying down, and then I sit up, and then I go up. And while that was happening, I was that fell. I was constantly like just, going into that no thought, and then finally it was a brain wipe. And I was in that space for, I'd say, a good like 5 or 10 minutes that I saw the dodecahedron. And then after that, I lost all consciousness. I thought I died. Like I thought that I just died, and I was okay with it, which is really odd because I've had guidance before with a shaman, with my friend, and I don't think I could have done that by myself, and that's why I was so thankful that I was able to do this, not only without psychedelics, but with just a meditation and a map coning and 3 white candles. I mean, it's amazing. So when I woke up 3 hours later. It was a 40-minute meditation. I was in that space for about 5 to 10 minutes. It took me a little bit to get in that lucid state. And once I was in that lucid state, lost the ego, saw the dodecahedron, lost consciousness, woke up 3 hours later, and I was shocked I was still alive. I was shocked. And after that, like the whole entire day, I was just crying, and I couldn't help it. I couldn't help but cry because I realized that I had contacted my higher self, or source energy, or whatever it was, spirit that I had seen, and I had died, and I was reborn, and I was so thankful. And this is why I'm not wearing makeup today, because if I do cry, it's okay. It's not a big deal. But I died, and I came back, and I truly felt like that was an experience to teach me to just let go of that fear of death and to explore my inner self so much more, and not be afraid to explore our inner selves. It's so funny, everybody wants to explore everything around them, but people are afraid to explore their inner selves, and I have this also in my family. Some people, they hear I meditate and they're like, oh no, don't do that. Oh no, you shouldn't do that. Not know thyself? Like, that's odd. But yeah, so after that experience, I realized I was having these states, before, and I'm going to go into my experience with time and seeing the future, basically, which is it's not a new thing for me, but I was resistant to it. I was resistant to these abilities because I was scared. I was resistant to hypnagogic hallucinations because I was scared. I did not know what they were. Nobody talked about them. I wasn't educated about them, so I resisted. And once I took DMT enough, I realized what these things were, and I wasn't afraid of them. So this yesterday and earlier this week, it happened twice in a row already. In a lucid state, in my dreams, I had visions of the future. And this has happened before, but again, I was resistant to it, so it just always went away. So this started happening after my first EMT experience in 2013. I started having premonitions. So somebody would do something and I would know. Like, I would talk to them and I'd be like, oh, so you're doing this? And they'd be like, oh my God, how did you know? And I'm like, I had a dream about it. That happened once. And also, that my sister and her husband are also, they have these types of dreams and they're connected to me. So it happened once where my brother-in-law had a dream about me. And because he had that dream, I altered something within my reality. And because I altered something within my reality, I had a good outcome and a safe outcome. And it was because of that premonition, I took action. So now that it's coming back to me in the funniest, smallest ways as to, I feel, warm me up to it, because when all of these new things are happening to you, you're seeing the future, you're having astral projections, you're having lucid dreams, you're communicating telepathically with people that you love, you're seeing geometry at night, it's a bit overwhelming. It's a bit overwhelming, and I was resistant because I was ignorant of what was happening to me, and I thought it was, evil. I thought it was bad, and I just misunderstood it. So, this week what had happened was I had a dream, and it was really funny that it has to do with my subscriber count, which is silly, but this whole entire experience is connected to my subconscious. So I had a vision of my exact subscriber count. Now, how did I know that number? And it was like, like that, like those rolling old school numbers that dial, and you see like the number like dialing, like clicking to like different numbers. I saw the exact number. And I thought it was a one-off event, like I didn't really think anything of it. But I had that in the back of my mind, and this was something that I paid attention to, and I just, let it be. And then yesterday, so if you guys follow my Snapchat, you know what I'm doing. And I'm going to the opera on Friday, and I had a dream, a premonition dream, that I left my opera glasses. And, I call up the person who I'm going to the opera with, and I say, I'm going to double and triple check if we have the opera glasses, because I had a dream that we forgot them. And that's, again, a small little tiny thing, but it's altering your reality to create an experience. And that's really, really cool and very, very interesting. I'm kind of really excited about all of these things that are happening, and I'm no longer frightened. Yesterday, and I'm going to also talk about what happened yesterday, because it really makes me understand that when we are manifesting, when we are creating, yes, we are creating in this 3D reality, but also we are manifesting in our no thought state. So I spent yesterday in meditation for about 2 hours. And in those 2 hours, I realigned myself. And then I had a very interesting experience. Again, I was just so overwhelmed that I was just brought to tears. And this happened 2 days in a row. And I just was so thankful. I was so thankful. It kind of felt like I made it out of the forest and out of the clear, like it was that feeling, oh my gosh, thank goodness, thank you. And I just felt so much gratitude that I had to stop the meditation because I was just crying uncontrollably. And I still have that feeling whenever it's so weird these days, I was ruminating on a thought of, this is what true love feels like, true happiness, true bliss, what we feel when we see marriages, what we feel when we see babies born, what we feel when we see our lover, what we feel when we see our pets, you know, and it was so powerful. And I always get teared up, you know, these days, and it's, oh my goodness. Oh, another thing that I wanted to see, this is why I have to keep on thinking about these experiences that I have, because I forget, you know, I forget certain things. And that night, that second night that I had the ruminating thoughts, or the thought downloads from I don't know where, I'm guessing somewhere from outer space. Somebody had commented that it was I got these downloads because of the moon being in Pisces, and I don't know how she knew that, but she knows her stuff. And I wanted to say yes, I again didn't know that, and thank you for telling me that. And that's why I put these experiences online, so people can educate me and I could educate them and we could educate each other. But yeah, so every single time I get these like streams or downloads of information that I don't really understand, but it's just like a little hum of whatever the underlying thought behind it is. And it's always while I'm semi-conscious, you know, in that lucid state. And it always feels like it's coming from above. And when it happens, it usually happens around like the moon phases. So I will see like this image of the moon, like a huge moon, like it was almost blue. And yeah, it was right in my face, and it was like I was there. And then once I saw the moon and I was aware and I got excited that I saw it, these triangles appeared, these Pythagorean triangles, and then they turned into fish. I didn't know it was the new moon in Pisces. So yeah, I wanted to communicate that to you, because that was also something that was important that I wanted to communicate that I forgot. And yeah, so what else? What else am I forgetting? I know. So yeah, yesterday when I meditated for the 2 hours, literally my whole entire day was perfect. I mean, perfect. Super perfect. I was worrying because I'm going to Europe in like a week, and I just said, I'm living in my divine purpose. I will give this to my higher self. I will just surrender. And I know that I will be provided for. And I know that when I am working towards something, that there will always be provisions and not to worry. So I just surrendered it to Source, God, whatever, you know, the collective unconscious, whatever you want to call it, my higher self. And I surrendered, and I just meditated, and I found that inner stillness and peace. And that's when I started crying, uncontrollably expressing gratitude. I mean, I was sobbing. I was sobbing like a baby. I was so happy. Even though I was in that weird state of struggle, I found my inner peace. And when I went to go, I volunteer and I teach art classes, you know, it was perfect. It was even better than perfect. Everybody was so happy to see me. I was vibrating on such a high level. You know, I came home and again, the universe or my higher self or source, whatever it is, had provided for me. I had money in my bank account, you know, and having, you know, work come in. And again, my whole entire day. And it was when I stopped focusing on all the things I needed and focused on how happy and thankful and gratuitous I am for what I have. So that was a really cool experience. Yeah, so if you guys have any experiences with going out of body, astral projections, if you guys have any experiences with going within the white light, if you guys have any experiences seeing the future, please let me know. Comment down below. I would love to hear your experiences because we're all going through this together. Anyway, reflections, I hope you're having an awesome, awesome, awesome day. Hey reflections, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and check out my other videos.